front. What else is that? Anybody here? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're going to brief this afternoon on the investigation and what I would loosely describe or term the recovery. We're going to hear from the SAC for the FBI, Rick Delorier, on the investigation, and then the mayor and I have a couple of follow-on comments and announcements with respect to the recovery. And then any of us are available to take questions from any of you. So let me start with Special Agent Delorier. There you go.
Thank you very much, Governor Patrick. And again, good afternoon. My name is Rick Delorier. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Boston Division. Let me recap our investigative efforts this afternoon. Yesterday at this time, our collaborative efforts were focused on saving lives and treating the injured. At the same time, resources were directed to ensure the safety of our community. As soon as those important tasks were completed, first responders focused on establishing a criminal investigation. The FBI's Boston Joint Terrorism Task Force, composed of more than 30 federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, including the Boston Police, the Massachusetts State Police, ATF, HSI, United States Secret Service, and others, responded to the scene. Many of them were already there as part of the general security for the marathon already in place. The first step law enforcement took was to secure the physical area around the blast for the purpose of preserving evidence in the area related to the devices itself. This morning, the FBI, along with Boston PD, Massachusetts State Police, and ATF, officially began its forensic evidence recovery effort at the site. Their goal was to recover physical items related to the blast. Those items have been recovered and are being sent to the FBI's laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. There, specialized examiners will reconstruct the device or devices and determine its makeup and components. Among items partially recovered are pieces of black nylon, which could be from a backpack, and what appear to be fragments of BBs and nails, possibly contained in a pressure cooker device. We are expediting this blast evidence to our laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, for a complete and thorough analysis. In addition, this morning, it was determined that both of the explosives were placed in a dark-colored nylon bag or backpack. The bag would have been heavy because of the components believed to be in it. At this point, it is difficult to determine specific components used until we can eliminate other factors which may have already been present in the environment. In fact, we won't know with some certainty until the laboratory completes its final review. Away from the scene, yesterday afternoon, the JTTF began its investigation. Immediately after the bombing, the FBI initiated a command post. Those assigned to the JTTF, intelligence analysts, and other personnel from every state, local, and federal government agency associated with the JTTF, and many others on their own, including Boston PD and Mass State Police. More than 1,000 law enforcement officers across many agencies have been assigned to this investigation via the command post. They began canvassing sources, reviewing government and public source databases, and conducting interviews with eyewitnesses and others to determine who is responsible for this crime. We are doing this methodically, carefully, yet with a sense of urgency. All across the nation and around the world, the force of the United States is working hard to locate those responsible. Already, the FBI has received more than 2,000 tips as of noon today, many of which have already been reviewed, analyzed, and vetted. We will continue to work around the clock tirelessly, side by side with our partners, to continue to investigate and act on these leads. Regarding who might be suspected of this event, the investigation is in its infancy. As law enforcement, it is our responsibility to thoroughly review each and every piece of evidence. Some of our activity you may see, some of it you won't, but rest assured we are working hard to get the answers. At this time, there are no claims of responsibility. The range of suspects and motives remains wide open. Importantly, the person who did this is someone's friend, neighbor, coworker, or relative. We are asking anyone who may have heard someone speak about the marathon or the date of April 15th in any way that indicated that he or she may target the event, to call us. Someone knows who did this. Cooperation from the community will play a crucial role in this investigation. We ask that businesses review and preserve video surveillance, video and other business records in their original form. And we are asking the public to remain alert and alert us of the following activity. Any individual who expressed a desire to target the marathon, suspicious interest in researching how to create explosive devices, the noise of explosions in remote areas prior to yesterday, which may have been used as tests by those responsible for these acts, someone who appeared to be carrying an unusually heavy, dark-colored bag yesterday around the time of the blasts and in the vicinity of the blasts. As further substantive details become available that are appropriate for release, together we will either issue a press release or hold a press conference. And tomorrow we plan to hold another press conference in the early afternoon. Thank you very much. And I want to thank the public for their tremendous support in this investigation. It is crucial to our ultimate success, and I thank the residents of the City of Boston, the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for this information that has been provided to us. I also want to thank the Westin Hotel here for their services and allowing us to use their facility. We are very grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all for being here once again this afternoon. As the investigation continues and more victims are being identified, in true Boston fashion, we are receiving many offers of help and assistance. And just earlier today, Senator Warren and I visited several of the victims of this tragedy. Your heart goes out to them and their families during this very difficult time for them. I also want to talk about the police, the fire, EMS, all those services, and the volunteers who reacted quickly during this time of tragedy also. Because of the outpouring of help, we've set up an organization, One Fund Boston, which is to collect money to help people who might need help during this time. The website is onefundboston.org. And you can go to that site and donate any resource you have. Some of the folks who have stepped up so far are John Hancock, Jack Connors, John Fish, Steve Pagluka, Larry Lucchino. The whole business community is coming together. And the Boston Foundation. They're all there willing to help. That's how Boston's come together like it's never come before. We're all here because this tragedy is not going to stop Boston. We are Boston. We are one community, and we will not let terror take us over.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to all of the donors, the inaugural donors, if you will, for the One Fund Boston and those who will contribute. In the nature of contributions, the Lieutenant Governor and I visited a couple of hospitals this afternoon as well, and one of the things that we had an opportunity to do is thank the extraordinary medical teams who have responded to the needs of people who were hurt. One of the things we learned is that there is a need for blood on a sustained basis. So this will be, I just want to make sure everybody understands this the way I think I understand it. Do not go and make a donation today, but next week and the week after that, there will be an ongoing need for blood donations. So members of the public who are following these announcements, who are inclined and able to make blood donations at their local hospital or through the Red Cross, next week and the week after that, our medical professionals anticipate a need. We are going to have an interfaith service. It will be at 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. It'll be held at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross in the South End. I'm very pleased that the President will join us for that to help us all heal. Another point that I wanted to make before I open it up to questions. You've heard Special Agent Delorier and many, many others in law enforcement tell you what we can tell you about the ongoing investigation and the fact that there is not yet an identified suspect. These are times when all kinds of forces sometimes conspire to make people start to think of categories of people in sometimes uncharitable ways. This community will recover and will heal if we turn to each other rather than on each other. And one of the things that we'll emphasize at the Interfaith Service, and that we want to emphasize by our example every day, is that we are one community, as the mayor said. We are all in this together, and the sensitivity we show to each other as we heal will be an important part of how we heal. And now we're happy to take your questions. I'm not signaling anything.
I believe I mentioned in my statement we don't have any definitive information regarding suspects or subjects. It could be a person. It could be persons. We don't have any. We have not reached any conclusions at all in that regard.
Commissioner Davis, you run this event year after year, presumably with a sound security plan. Can you talk about what happened this year, what went wrong, and do you think that these people may have been planning this for many years?
The second part of that question will be answered by the investigation. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to determine exactly how this incident occurred. We plan this incident like we do every incident in the city of Boston. We work very closely with our federal partners, the intelligence services. Each incident is vetted very carefully. There's a specific plan put together. This particular plan was very well thought out and executed. And there were more officers assigned to this race than we've ever assigned before. And we were particularly concerned with the finish line this year and assigned more officers down in that area. I think if you look at the videotapes, you can see that. So we'll have a lot of time to vet all these plans and to determine exactly what happened here. But this is going to be an integral part of the ongoing investigation.
Did something go wrong here, though, with your plan? Was there a weakness that clearly they exploited a weakness?
Well, you know, this is a soft target. And so anybody can go into a church service and do this type of thing. When you have an event like this, you can't lock it down like it's a military operation. It needs to be open to the public. There's commerce occurring up and down that parade route. And by the virtue of the type of event this is, it requires that we don't turn these events into a police state. So we struck what we believe to be the appropriate balance. We'll review all of that, and we'll come to some conclusions down the road. But this investigation is really our priority right now.
Governor, a few minutes ago about charging groups unfairly. Are you suggesting that you hinted about targeting groups unfairly? Are you suggesting that that situation is in fact happening?
No, we haven't actually had any complaints, but the U.S. Attorney and I were talking earlier about those concerns, and just wanting to remind people this is a time to show that sensitivity.
Mr. Deloria, can I ask you just a few questions, sir? Was black nylon residue found in both of the bomb blasts, and what specifically can you tell us about rice cooker? Do you have an actual piece of a rice cooker?
No, I believe I said pressure cooker. Possibly a pressure cooker. Black nylon bags, possibly at both sites.
So 2 bags.
Yes, black nylon bags as opposed to, I think you said residue, but
You said that they were heavy. About how heavy, and were they concealed in anything else, like a grocery bag or any other?
I can't characterize the specifics of that. We're postulating that they needed to be heavy bags to carry the explosive devices inside of them. They would not be light bags.
And just one more question. Does it appear that they were then twin bombs? Was the damage the same at both, and the fragments the same at both, the nylon the same at both?
I think that would be speculation right now before the evidentiary review is complete.
How uncommon is it at this point, or anything that would hint it? Did you find a circuit board or a fragment of a circuit board or anything that might get detonation?
The evidentiary review is still ongoing right now, and I wouldn't want to speculate or characterize any more than I already have.
How uncommon is it at this point? How uncommon is it at this point in the investigation, in this type of attack, not to have anybody come forward?
There are a variety of reasons why. This is a very complicated investigation. It is going to be pursued methodically, carefully, diligently, but with a sense of urgency. And we are barely 24 hours on into this investigation. So I would say that this is still in its early stages, and that's the best way I can characterize that right now.
Mr. Governor, has the city or state ever
one question per customer. You know that, right? So I don't frankly know the answer to the first question, other than the guidance that that folks along the route get in preparation for a specific event. In terms of how we go forward, I'd just like to remind everyone we've had 116 years of incident-free marathons, and every year we have learned from the last experience. This is a painful and tragic lesson, but we will learn from this as well, and next year's marathon will be even bigger and better.
How many people were through that area over the course of the day, would you say? What's the ballpark range of how many people?
I don't know the answer to that. Do you?
We do not
You're
make...
talking about in the area where the blast occurred in particular?
Yeah. We don't make specific estimates on crowds, but tens of thousands of people are right at the finish line. And this group of people extends off and on for 26.2 miles.
24 hours later, how much closer are we finding out?
There's been a lot of work done. They are literally going over the crime scene with a fine-tooth comb, and there's a lot of information that's coming from the evidence and from our analysis of video, but it's very early in the investigation. As Mr. Laurier said quite clearly, this has to be a methodical investigation that is not a rush to any particular end. We have to be very cautious here.
Especially to the lawyer, knowing what you know about the devices now, are these things that bomb-sniffing dogs could find?
I couldn't speculate on that right now. Again, we're still in the process, as Commissioner Davis just mentioned, we're still in the process of going through the evidentiary review at the crime scene. That process is not completed yet. It is ongoing, and I wouldn't want to speculate or characterize that anymore until that process is complete.
Mayor Menino, do you know anyone who was hurt, and have you spoken to the families of anyone who was killed?
Yes, I visited several of the families this afternoon at the Brigham Women's Hospital, and you know, they were very strong. The victims, the families needed some help, but the young woman I saw there who lost a leg, she had a lot of courage, and I think they're hanging in there, and we've offered them all the kinds of help we can, both at the medical, but also the city help that will be there for them. And those families, you know, they're going through very difficult times now, and we as a city, we as individuals, have to support them as best we can.
Did you know that any of the families
Yes, I did.
who lost?
I did.
Is there anything that you can say?
Pardon?
Anything that you can say about?
No.
who were lost?
You know, you guys want a lot of answers? Some of these things are personal things. And when you get down to things like that, it's very personal. And you don't get into facts of conversations with victims who you know personally.
Commissioner Davis, you said earlier that you pay special attention this year. Expand on that. Why? What particular threat did you have?
Well, as the governor said, we review each one of these events, and at the end of our review last year, we determined that the crowds were larger than usual, and so we put extra officers at the event, especially towards the end of the race, and especially when the runners were first coming in. But as I said, if you review the pictures and the videotape, there was a significant amount of police presence there. The officers are lining the route, looking into the crowd, which is what their job is. No, as I said, we talked to our federal and state partners. There was no specific threat about this event. This was a standard threat picture after 9/11. We're certainly very vigilant, but there was nothing specific about this particular event. We had teams of undercover officers in the crowd, working the crowd at the end of the race, which is standard procedure because of pickpockets that occur in that area. Those teams were out there. They were fully deployed, as were our EOD dogs, which were in the area all through the race.
I'm not aware of it at all.
Friday?
No.
Agent does law enforcement know anything about that?
No.
Agent Deloria, if I could just hate to belabor this, but
No, I believe the circuit board was brought up by a member of the media right here and not in my remarks, so I'm not prepared to speak to that, any aspect pertaining to that right now. But certainly going out to the community, conducting a logical investigation, I can assure you that the Joint Terrorism Task Force is doing that as we speak.
Special Agent Flores, are there indications of how much, of whether it took a lot of planning to do this, that they may have been planning for many years, as I asked the police commissioner?
Again, hopefully that will come out in the investigation. Again, that would be speculation on my part right now to speculate how much planning went into this. I do not want to provide you with anything that might be inaccurate information ultimately, so I wouldn't want to speculate on that.
The names of 2 victims have come out. Is the third name going to be released?
Right. The third victim, we're having trouble identifying, so I don't know where we are with that, but it won't be until next of kin is notified.
We got to do. Right.
Commissioner Davis advises me that there is not enough work done right now to make a notification to the next of kin for the third victim.
Special Agent, can you be clear on how many pressure cooker remnants you may have found, possible pressure cooker remnants? One at each site. Can you just be clear on that? And 2, given that your discussion of pressure cookers, what's the sophistication of that? Is this something that's made in the basement, or?
No, I think pressure cookers, Milton, we're familiar with those. They're relatively ordinary cooking devices, historically going back several years. As far as precisely what evidence was found at what location, I wouldn't want to go into the details of that right now. That there are multiple pieces of evidence that are at the crime scene, as you might well imagine from the serious, tragic nature of this event. That analysis is ongoing right now, and I wouldn't, again, as I mentioned before, I wouldn't want to provide you with inaccurate information right now as to whether specific pieces of information were found at both crime scenes. Information that could possibly be a pressure cooker was found at the site, and we are putting that out to the public in an attempt to generate any lead information.
When will the troops be gone from the city?
When will the National Guard be gone?
And before the streets open?
When they're not needed anymore. The job of the National Guard right now is to secure the crime scene. The work of going through the crime scene continues. We're not going to rush that. That will involve some inconvenience to people, but I can't tell you when that work will be finished. The other thing the National Guard is doing is helping with the random bag checks in the T, and that'll continue for the next day or so. Sorry.
We have had a tremendous outpouring of support from the public in terms of video that has been submitted to us. It has been tremendous, and we are analyzing that right now, taking a look at it. We are bringing specialists up from Quantico to assist us, who are digital video analysis experts, and we are bringing the best possible resources that the FBI can bring to bear to Boston to participate in that very aspect of this investigation. It's various video submissions of the area around the crime scenes that were taken around the time of the blast, both before and afterwards. All video like this, we encourage the public and particularly business owners in that area to continue to submit this information. This is very, very important, and we thank the citizens of Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for submitting this information.
Many witnesses
Sure.
are saying they smelled something like gunpowder.
Yes, that's correct. That has been reported, that type of smell, but we're not prepared yet to go into the specifics as to the blast scene. It's a fairly expansive, large scene, and that's why we're having to be so methodical in how we're processing it. We do know that there has been some debris recovered from some of the rooftops nearby, as well as some of the debris has been embedded in some of the buildings nearby. So that gives you just a kind of a scope of the power of the blast, and you can see how it was so devastating.
White smoke suggests gunpowder.
We're not prepared to really get that specific yet.
I want to ask a favor on behalf of somebody I met this afternoon. Lieutenant Governor and I were over at Tufts Medical Center, and we visited a young woman. We visited a number of victims, but one young woman named Victoria, who is a Northeastern student, who is in the hospital because of a serious shrapnel wound she had in her leg in the site of around the site of the first blast. She was scared. She was carried, I think, by a firefighter. We think by a firefighter to the medical tent, really, as she described it, hysterical. There was a person who helped calm her down, who she said who described himself as an Army sergeant, an Afghanistan vet. I don't know whether he was assigned to the medical tent or, like so many other people there and elsewhere in the Commonwealth, just jumped in to help. But his name is Tyler. That's all we know, Tyler. And one of the things he said to her to calm her down was to show her his own shrapnel, a wound or scar from his own shrapnel wound from when he was in Afghanistan. Victoria very, very much wants to thank Tyler personally. So if Tyler is out there and listening or reading your reports, we would love to hear from Tyler so that we can connect him to Victoria. And Tyler can get in touch with us by dialing 617-725-4000. If you just get that word out there, I'd appreciate the favor, and more to the point, Victoria would. Thank you all for coming.
Well, there'll be one briefing we anticipate in the afternoon, sometime after 1 p.m. There will be nothing in the morning. As of right now, although I haven't asked them yet, we plan on asking the Westin if we can continue to use this room tomorrow. So right now we're planning on tomorrow afternoon a briefing sometime after 1 o'clock. It'll be put out advisories from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, the Mayor's Office. They'll all put out advisories when we kneel down a time.
Any Hispanic media here, Spanish media? There were some folks that wanted to speak in Spanish. No? Univision? Okay.
Someone pick up a wrong transmitter? Wrong transmitter?